It's official. I'm here. LinkedIn Live. Hello, this is Debbie Saviano. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to give it about 30 more seconds to make sure we've got the right time. But I think where we're supposed to be. The thing that makes this kind of a challenge is that I'm here, but I can't see what's happening on the other side. I can see the comments, but I can't respond to them. So I'm just so grateful that because Pam Goodwin just commented and I was going to respond back, of course, and I was unable to. And so I just wanted to kind of share with you why I cannot do that. So, as I said before, Debbie Saviano, this is my first LinkedIn Live. And I have to tell you, I was a little bit nervous about it because we want everything to be perfect. We want everything to be, exactly like it should be. But you can't really with this because when you go live, you're live. But I wanted to do it and I thought, you know what, let's do it. 95% of the people here know me. The others, God willing, will give me grace that if I make some mistakes and some hiccups, I will monitor the comments for your comments and suggestions, that kind of stuff. But I'm using StreamYard. Now, when you do LinkedIn Live, and I'm always about teaching anything that I'm doing to maybe be of help to someone else. But when you do LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn makes you choose a platform to use to do your live. And so I chose StreamYard, give a shout out to Chris Brogan because that's what he uses. And I thought, why not? He and Carrie use it. So, and I've really been pleased with it. Deanna Shoss is working with me to try and help me do some bumpers, but I'm not confident enough. StreamYard gives you all these different things you can do, but I just want to do the basic today because it's my first time, right? So bear with me. I'll do more as I move along, but like the little logo you see in the top right, that's an image of that Martha Collins did of me, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But you can do all kinds of things, the banners, you can bring other people in, you can show other things, you can have your bumpers in the beginning and the end. But today I just want to do the basics. So again, thank you though for being here with me. It's a new year and it's a fresh start, and we're all praying for normalcy, right? But then I have to ask myself, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about this the last few days, what's normal? That's why I wanted to talk about 2022 and have a frank conversation about how to use social media and digital space to share your solutions. Everything we do right now, technology is the driving force behind it. Pardon me. But I want to take just a second because, the teacher in me, the educator, I always like to kind of look back at this historical perspective. In the beginning, social media was created by techies. And I say this with all due respect, but they weren't real social. So they created social media, and then we, the users who wanted to use it for social, we were kind of in a quandary because they held us hostage. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but they made the rules, they made the algorithms, they made the decisions on what could and couldn't be done. But none of us should be held to the rules if it's going to be a burden to us in doing our business. So what I want to talk about today are the tools and resources that are available out there and different mindset, if you will, and how we can reevaluate our work, how we do it, where we do it, when we do it. If you think about it, we've all had to rethink and start anew while still having a COVID shadow hanging over us. I mean, it's 2022. We all thought a year ago this would be done and over. It's not. I don't know that it'll ever be over. We have a new world we're entering. And the one good thing that we have about it and the constant is we have digital space thanks to technology, right? And so I want to talk about doing it your way. I want to talk about following a plan that's within your comfort zone because what's comfortable for me may not be for you, and likewise. So, what's comfortable for you? Next, being anything but normal, because we've been told that we shouldn't be normal, that we should all be unique. But then are we really, right? So let's do first, doing it your way. This is something I have spent a lot of time thinking about because when I was a principal, my staff, and I, love being a principal. I love working with students. And I was very, very blessed and fortunate to be principal of 5 different campuses, K to 12, depending upon the school. And my staff and I, we always encouraged our students continually to be unique, to follow their passion, to whatever they did, to do something that made a positive difference in the world. We always did that. My staff, that was our number one priority. Prepare students to go out into the world to be successful so that they can make a difference. However, the reality was when they left that school and they left and went into the real world, most often they had to conform. Companies didn't necessarily value individuality. Remember the days of strict dress codes? One of those companies was where I had my schools in Plano. Great company, did great work, but they had very strict dress codes. At the time, that was all within the lines of acceptance, if you will. But there's a reason. We like to think those days are gone and past. But don't fear, there's a reason 45% plus of the population are leaving their jobs. It's a multitude of reasons. But the point is, they're leaving. They're choosing to do something else. If we didn't have technology, forgive me my throat. If we didn't have technology, they couldn't do that. They couldn't do it. They'd have to stay in those standards of that manufacturer, that factory, if you will, place. And so along comes the internet, world-changing events in the last 10, 15 years. And now, almost 2 years of a crippling economy. As a result, people have been brought to the realization they have to do it their way moving forward, because we can't depend on the past. We can't depend on status quo. We can't depend on what society says is normal, because there is no normal. So disruption's the new recipe. I think we would all agree with that. So here's what I'd like you to do. Ask yourself, why do you use social media? For me, the answer is simple. It's to build relationships. That's why I use social media. Whether it was when I was a principal, or whether it was when I was one of the three founders of Will with Stacy and Linda, or in social media today, it's always been about relationships. So everything I've ever done has been based on that. Because I believe if you have a product or service, a business, a company, whatever it is that you do, and people can trust you and they feel they have a relationship with you, whether near or far, they're going to be more inclined to buy that product or service from you. So a little story. When I do LinkedIn profiles, and LinkedIn's changed over the years, and one of the reasons I like it is because it always adapts to the user's needs, right? So in the beginning, and I don't even know how many years ago this was, LinkedIn lets you put down your books you read and different things like that, hobbies, etc. And when I would do a LinkedIn profile for someone, I remember doing it for a client one time. He was a marathon runner. You know anything about marathon runners? They travel the country, the world sometimes, doing marathons. And so I said, if there's 5 people who are going to hire you and one of them's a marathon runner, he's choosing you because you have something in common. It's just by nature we do that, right? And so being able to develop the relationships on social media gives us that opportunity. So the tip is, ask yourself, why are you using social media? It's a critical question because you must know it in order to know what plan you need. So let me check the comments. Okay. Bridget, thank you. Now, one of the things that StreamYard lets you do, and I'll learn how to do this, is I can put those comments over here in the screen. I'm not doing that today because we're taking baby steps here. But Rose is right. Yes, it's know, like, and trust people. Jody, relationships mean the world to me. If you know Jody, you know that's totally true. The same with Rose and the same with Bridget. Those people that are using social media to build their business, to be able to connect with those clients, that's what you want, right? That's what you want, because then you can help them. So what's a plan within your comfort zone? One of the byproducts of COVID has been that we all recognize we have to have a new game plan. We want to position ourselves for success moving forward. So successful entrepreneurs and businesses, they've had to pivot, they've had to adjust, they've had to rethink. Someone who I know personally who's done that really well is Judy Hoberman. You know, used to, Jody was always on the road speaking. The speaking tour was gone, right? You couldn't be on a stage anymore because of COVID. Well, she totally pivoted and redid her business because of it. There's so many of you here who have done that. That's what you have to ask yourself. Social media is an integral part of our lives personally and professionally. None of us leave home without a phone in our hand. We'll leave home without a purse before or a wallet because now we have money on our phone. We don't have to worry about it. But businesses who didn't have that, brick and mortars especially, who had no way to provide services to their customers online, they lost business. And many were forced to close their doors. They waited too late. What we don't want to do is wait too late. So having a strategy is crucial. For me, that strategy is treating digital space like I do physical space. I've said it time and time again, and people have different opinions of it, but we build relationships. But if you're in sales, if you have, for example, if you have an online store and you go on and you're selling your product, they're building a relationship with you. They like what you show, they like what you're wearing, they like your personality, they like you. They're not there if they didn't like that. They wouldn't be there, they'd leave. Time, being friendly and open, interested in them and wanting to do something that's positive for them, giving of yourself, being helpful, answering questions. I watch some of the girls primarily that have the e-commerce stores. They're incredible. They come on with their clothes, they show you how to wear it, they make fun, they enjoy themselves. Some have cocktails, some are more professional, I mean, more business-like, if you will. But the point is, they develop a relationship with that buyer. So what are you doing to make sure you have that relationship, if you will? So what's your comfort zone with those relationships? So here's what I'd like to ask you to do. This tip for two. Go to social media and choose several posts to engage with. Choose some posts, maybe 2 or 3 of people you know already. Then 2 or 3 who you don't know. And first of all, you're gonna react, right? Unfortunately, what most people do is they just go down and click, react. They like it, they love it, whatever. That's not going to build a relationship. People want to have engagement, so they want you to comment. So, for example, as I said in the beginning, I was excited about doing this. I was so appreciative of the 80 people who signed up to be here today. And so last night, I went into all those people and I messaged them. And I said to them, first of all, Happy New Year. Thank you for signing up. Here's what the plan is. God willing, it'll go off. And I sent that out. Probably a third of those people messaged me back. Now, it was late, so they took the time to do that. Some of the people I didn't know, I'd never met them before, right? Some I did, but some I didn't know. Now, I had 2 choices. One choice was I could say, that's great, and do a smiley face and go on. I could do nothing, or I could respond. I responded because I was appreciative that they took the time. That's building relationships. So if you do that for just a week on some you haven't done it with before, see what the results are. See what you get from being that fully engaged. If you have companies, let's say you have companies that you want to know you, take the time to do the research on those companies. This is the beauty of LinkedIn. Oh my gosh. Take the time to go in, look at those 5 companies. If they have an active LinkedIn company page, engage. What you'll see is, for the most part, people react, but very few comment. So when you comment, you're really going to shine. Your picture's going to show up, your name's going to show up, and your headline's going to show up. So take the time to do that, because those people will then see who you are. And what you want them to do is you want them to click back on your LinkedIn profile and say, hey, who's Becky? Hey, who's Cody? That's what you want. Cody's another great example. I only connected with Cody probably a month ago. Thank you, Cody. And he's like me. He likes to talk. He messaged me, and he said he was on his way to Maine. I said, oh my gosh, Maine. I think of Maine with the mystery writer, Stephen King. And I said, there's a reason he writes those books, because the winter's in Maine. So now I always associate that with Cody, the Maine, the winters, the mysteries, etc. That's how you build relationships. And that's going to be the determining factor when those people go. They may not need your service or your product today, but when they do, they're going to remember you because you put the time in to build a relationship. So let me check comments here and see if we got any questions. Totally agree, Chet. Networking marketing is synonymous with relationship building. Absolutely. Engagement's key. Absolutely. It's Shannon, thank you. Exactly. It's just like going to meet people in person. You wouldn't walk into a room and just shake your head at someone in a physical environment. You would go up, shake hands, talk to them, be yourself. Not sell, not talk about, the product, the services you offer, unless they ask, but you want to talk about getting to know them. What makes them unique? What makes them you? We're all familiar with the quote, Take the path less traveled. And yet, when I was working on this, I was thinking to myself, but do we really? Do we really color outside the lines? Not really. When Gary Vee, we all know who Gary Vee is, he's historical these days. When he started his dad's wine store, everything he did, no one was doing. No one. He did the yellow page ad, he did the billboard ad, and then he did the email, and then he did the social. He built his business, and we all know how it's going today, right? Because he was not the norm. He was not the norm. He was anything but normal. My first, I have a newsletter called Books and Bites for people who love to read but don't always have the time. So I did my first one last Monday, and the first book I chose was The Freak Shall Inherit the Earth. You can see I love this book by Chris Brogan. The reason I chose this book was because it speaks to everything I'm talking about. We tell kids in school, be unique, be yourself, but then when they go out in the real world, oh no, don't be that unique. It's the same thing happens to us. So we want to make sure that we're anything but normal. When social media first started, it was primarily, as I said before, former school friends, family, relationships, etc. However, today it's the strongest marketing tool we have for all industries, all communication across the board. There's nothing that can compare to it. All you got to do is look at traditional media, if you will, and see how low the numbers are, how low the viewers are. If I ask how many people here have cable or they're cord cutters, I would bet at least 70% are cord cutters. So think about how that changed the industry. The only thing I want to know is, remember we had cable, we were told we wouldn't have commercials. We know how that worked out. But anyway, another story. But think about what can we do as a marketing tool for your business, whether it's your company, your organization, your nonprofit, a products business, a service business, whatever. But here's the deal. For years, we have been told that these exact systems. Let me go back to Gary Vee. When Gary Vee started, there wasn't a plan. There wasn't a program. There wasn't, do these 5 things. He did what he thought he was going to try. He did it his way. But today there's all these programs out there, processes, systems, how we should be doing certain things. Instagram feeds, they should look this way. Quotes here, images here, colors here, certain ways. But is that individual? Is that you? If it is, it's great. Then do that. But if it's not, don't do it. Copy needs to include certain keywords. It needs to be here and here. If that works for you, great. If it doesn't, headshots should be here and there. What works for you? What's you? That's what you want to do, because you're going to find it's kind of like we hear all the time, I'm not thin enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be a community. And one of the best things we have in social media today are the communities. There's so many people. I know everyone here today could make a list of 5 people that they have met and developed a relationship with because of social media. So I want to take you back to what I brought up in the beginning about former students. We encourage them to be unique. And I don't mean to keep harping on that, but I think it says a lot, because we raise these little ones and then they get older and older. And even in high school, we're like, be yourself, do this. You got to make sure you have the education, know the skills, know the knowledge so that you can go out and do great things. But then when they do leave, they have to be fit into this box. That's why this book is such a valuable book, because Chris says, thanks to the internet, we don't have to do it anymore. There is no gatekeeper. Do what you want to do and don't worry about it. How many of you have heard of the imposter syndrome? There's so many blogs, so many programs, so many everything on the imposter syndrome, right? I offer up, I think the reason there's an imposter syndrome is because people are not living their true, real self. If they were, they wouldn't feel like an imposter. But it's nerve-wracking to do that, right? But that's the beauty, I think, of social media and digital spaces, just like this LinkedIn Live. I'm kind of a perfectionist. I want things to be really, really good. I want them to be done the right way. And I was nervous about doing it because there were a lot of unknowns. But I thought, this is a community. Anyone who signed up, they're going to be forgiving and give me the grace. They're going to know I'm doing the best I can. Just like if you were doing it, I'd do the same for you. So just step out and do it, right? So what are you comfortable with? What's your normal? And I think that's the tip. If we go back to how we treat people in physical space and how we engage with them and always put that uppermost in our minds, when we're doing it on social media, it's going to be much easier, because we would do the same in physical space. How do we conduct ourselves? How do we interact? I'm a hugger. Okay. I'm a hugger. Obviously, times have changed, but I sign off most of my messages, most of my communication, biggest of hugs or big hug. Not 100% of the time, but 90%. Now, some people would say that's not professional. To them, it might not be. But if you know me, you know I am professional. I'm not going to change that about me because someone else said that. And I still do it. Now, again, there's that 10%, the old Pareto principle, 80-20, when you kind of know that's probably maybe not the most appropriate, but the other 90% for me, it is. And so I stay true to that. And I won't change that because that's who I am. So who are you? What do you do, right? You want to stay true to yourself. You don't want to do something because somebody else told you to do it. Let me look at comments here. Yeah, Pam's right. You can now reach 7 billion people. Exactly. Yeah, to be able to take advantage of all the tools and the resources that are out there is huge for us. But we have to take advantage of it, right? That's up to us. Thank you, Nicole. Nicolette, she does virtual hugs. That is such a good point. When I used to do a lot of Zooms, and when we had to wear masks all the time, I'm in Texas, so we don't have to wear them much at all. But when I did, I would always do a wink and put my hand over my heart, because you can't see people's emotions if this is covered up, right? I mean, just not even seeing my mouth. So what can you do to take advantage of those as far as how you can relate to people you want to help? That's the key. All of us walk this journey but once. We've been given the skills, the experiences, the expertise. All those things you have are what make you you. That's your story. So you telling that story and sharing that, that's going to help someone else. If you're selling clothes online, I'm going to use that as an example because there's so many cool people out there doing that right now. And you're selling Stacy, my partner Stacy, love her to death, been on HSN, QVC for forever. Is superb salesperson. She's a superb salesperson because she's not selling. She's building relationships. I've been on, Linda and I were on set with her one day, and she pulls up her shirt and shows her girdle because she was joking about being too fat. We're all who we are, but when we're more real with ourselves, we're going to be more endearing to people. So if you're one of those people, and I've seen some of the girls do this on the e-commerce sites where they're selling the clothes, be frank about that. Hey, this shirt's going to really cover your middle if you've had 2 kids and you need that. That's all of us, right? None of us look like Cindy Crawford. I mean, I wish, but that's not the case. So be real with people because we're all dealing with some of the same things. We're all human. We all want to thrive and be successful. So I want to tell you a little personal story. So thanks to Joe Packham, I was asked to speak at our Biz Jam in 2019. Lori Siebert and Phyllis Dobbs were sweet enough to invite me to come speak. And I was there with some of the most talented artists. Oh my gosh. And these men and women are people who do licensing, and most of the products, including some behind me probably, are done by some of those artists, right? They're very talented. As I said, Martha's the one that did that cute sketch of me in the top corner. But another speaker there was Margot Tantau. Now, Margot, incredibly creative and just the most positive, loving, fun personality. Well, she and I connected in physical space, right? If I have my preference, it's always physical space because you can get to know people. You're in the same space with them. However, technology is making it where we feel that like that even more. But we met in physical space. We built a relationship because we both have a lot in common. But here's the deal. There's a lot we don't have in common. She and I are both at different ends of the spectrum on a lot of things, but that doesn't matter because we're both women. We're both moms. We love life. We love people. And we both like to be creative and help others. So since 2019, she and I have had weekly Zooms. Weekly. We've missed a couple, but we even talked the day after Christmas, the day after New Year's. We took that physical space to digital space, and then we took it a step further, and we've developed a course together, which launches the end of January. But the point in saying that is we could have just met that one time and not taken it any farther, which is okay too. But you never know what doors have been open with the people you meet. Bonnie, who does Go Lids, who does incredible videos on LinkedIn and YouTube and everything else. She's got a cool, look it up, Go Lids Bonnie. Why, if you would type over in the comments, they can get your last name. But she does some really creative, fun things with her business. Now she's out on the streets, even with the mask and everything else going on. She's been out for 2 years. She is being disruptive and she is being innovative, which is exactly what business and life in general need to move forward. Right? We can't just stay doing the same old thing. This disruption, as I said, is the technology, and the innovation is doing it your way. But what's your way? There is no secret formula. I always joke and say the only thing that if there was ever a secret formula for, if you could give me a pill and I'd lose 50 pounds by next week, I'm buying the pill. I don't care about anything else. But there isn't anything, right? We all wish. There's no secret formula that's going to take it. Gary Vee didn't have a formula. He made his own formula. Bonnie didn't have a formula. She did her own formula. So what can you do that's going to do the same thing? And that's the beauty of social media. Think about TikTok, how that's risen. Oh my gosh. Think about Clubhouse, still pretty popular. There's a new one that's taken the place of Twitter, and that's Getter, Gettr. And Getter is a new platform. And here's my tip for you on that. Anytime you hear about a new social media platform, claim your name, your handle. You might not use it, but if you do want to use it, you want to own your handle. So even if you're not going to use it, you think, oh my gosh, I can't do one more thing. That's okay. Just grab that name. That'll take you literally, 60 seconds to sign up and get your handle. And then you have it in the hopper if you're going to use it, if you need it, right? So you want to take advantage of new things that come out there because they're always coming. The LinkedIn user, there's so many opportunities and possibilities. You just have to be open and creative. That's true. And again, pardon me, when I first started doing LinkedIn, 12 years ago, 10 years, my time flies, whatever. But I'm so bad with dates. I really am. Unfortunately, I'm not so bad with my year, but that's another topic. But when I first started doing LinkedIn, I didn't do them the same way. I was totally different because I came from an education background. I knew what kept people on a page. I knew how to engage with people. I knew certain things that needed to be there to get people to read it. For example, and this is a really good example that I could give as far as what people are doing. So many people give these formulas for these landing pages, and they're pages and pages and pages. No one's reading them. You're putting, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe 20% are, maybe 10% are, but the bulk are not reading them. People want brevity. You want brevity. You want to be able, I did a survey recently, and I think it was 78% of people said they scan, they don't read. That's why I came up with Books and Bites, because people don't have time anymore, or they think they don't, but they don't. It doesn't say you don't sometime, but as a whole, they're not. So all these long landing pages, you're spending time, energy, paying someone maybe to create them, and no one's really reading them. So what can you do? Margot and I have been working on this, and we have come up with the coolest one pager for ours for the course. And it's totally different. It's totally unique. It says what it needs to say. But think about that in regard to what you're doing. Trinidad says TikTok's an emergency platform for small businesses. Something to think about. Absolutely. Now, just like this LinkedIn Live for me, I was a little cautious, nervous because it's live. It's my first time. You can tell I'm kind of congested. But I thought, you know what? Nobody cares. We're all in this together. We can learn from each other. So just go do it. Now, you can't do all of it. It's impossible. My preferences are always LinkedIn and Instagram. LinkedIn because the professional platform, if you will. Instagram because it's your portfolio where you can see all your work, if you will. But LinkedIn is the one I always go back to. What is yours? And why is yours? Why is yours, right? That's what you want. You want to share information that's helpful. I know Nicolette does incredible resumes, okay? Her resumes are not 5 pages because nobody's going to read them. Nobody's going to read them. She's gifted in taking all that information and putting it out there to where someone wants to hire that person. So whatever it is your area of expertise. You want to be able to take the tools and the resources, which in the case we're talking about is social media and digital space, and how can you take that to the next step to build out your business, to increase your sales, or to increase your relation. Because at the end of the day, those relationships are always about, if any of us here, what we do because we can help provide a service to someone else. Again, products or service, doesn't matter, whatever it is. We do that because we truly believe in what we're doing. If we didn't believe in it, we wouldn't be doing it. So when someone says to you they want to purchase your product or your service, they're saying they trust you and they have faith that you truly want to help them. And so that's what we should all be trying to do, is how can we do that, right? What can we do to make sure that we're helping other people? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If you're not comfortable with TikTok, then do something else. I can never say enough about LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is one of those platforms that, I say this all the time, but if you meet someone and they ask you, and for those of you who've heard this, forgive me, but if they ask you what you do, and that person goes off on this tangent about telling you everything they do, that person is going to be thinking, this person's crazy and I need to escape, and they're looking for the nearest exit. However, if you talk about your interests and your hobbies and your background, etc., and they say, gosh, I really liked her or him, I want to know more about him, and they go to your LinkedIn page, that's where they expect you to sell yourself. That's where they want to know everything about you, because they're there by choice. They're not there by random. They're there by choice, especially if they have gone through and read that. On LinkedIn, 70-some% never get past the top fold, because if you can capture enough attention and they already know you, those people who are going to go in depth, those are the ones who really want to know what you provide, to see if that's something that can be of help to them. So I just can't tell you enough how pleased and appreciative I am that you came in and joined me today. And I agree with the LinkedIn user. Some of the people's names aren't here, which is totally fine. But serve first and serve always. I could not agree with you more. If there's one thing that we should be doing, it's be servant leaders. There's always someone who needs your help, and you never know who it is sometimes. And I am forever grateful for the people who I call friends, and the people who have been here to support me. And I would want to do the same for them. If any of you are going to do a LinkedIn Live and you want someone to be there to help support you and cheer you on, shoot me a message and I'll do my very best to be there. I do have a fair amount of travel that I do, but all we have to be is charged and connected. Have our phones, have them charged and have them connected. That's all we have to do to be able to be where we need to be. So I so appreciate it. I'm going to do another LinkedIn Live on the 25th. Yeah, 25th and 11th. They'll always be at 11. Let's talk 2022. And as I said before, Deanna Shoss is helping me. She's created some cute bumpers for me. I didn't have enough confidence to put them in there and mess it up. So I'll do it for next time. But she does a really good job on hers, Intercultural Talk. And she's been very helpful to me. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. But also encourage, if you go to the event, it'll show you. This is again, as I said before, this is an important thing to do, because you always want to connect with people who are in here, right? You've seen all this, that you do these kinds of things, you can connect with other people. So if you go to your profile and you go down to the event where it says recent, let's talk. Also encourage you. Oh, that's not good. See, it shows up, but it shows networking. You click on that and all the people who are registered show up there. If you're going to connect with them, I'd highly encourage a message. So it's just not a cold call, if you will, but at the same time, to make sure you take advantage of doing that. And then here's the key. So I'm going to use Jody as an example. Jody does incredible vision boards. Okay. Jody does vision board workshops virtually and in physical space. So if someone connects with Jody and they go look at Jody's LinkedIn profile and they see she does vision boards, they're like, oh, I've been wanting to do a vision board. That's why when on your LinkedIn profile, it is critical that your headline says who you are and what you do. That's why that's so important. Roxanne and Sarah, incredible job with Fran DFW, where they help franchises determine if they want to be a franchise holder. I never knew much about franchises, right? Because I don't hold one. But at the same time, if you're going to do a franchise, you want someone who's educated in that field. So they do an incredible job on LinkedIn with interviews and different things to help people say things that are understand the knowledge base behind doing a franchise that you would never have known about. That's the beauty of LinkedIn, social media in general, but that's truly the ability of taking advantage of the tools and the resources that are out there. And again, we all worry that we might mess up, we might not do the best job or whatever, but people are forgiving. They understand we're all doing the best we can. So, I mean, listen to me, I've got the froggiest voice today, but I know you're not judging me for that. And so I'm so grateful and thankful that you came. So go to my LinkedIn page. If we're not connected, I think I tried to send everyone once, but to connect with each other, but you guys connect with one another as well and send a message and say, that you were here and you saw they registered and you wanted to connect. Because some people sent me a message, so they had a meeting or something came up, they couldn't be here. But if you just say, they were registered, it's a great opening to connect with those people. So come back on the 25th. I'm going to do another one. And next Monday, which is, and I don't have a calendar in front of me, but this coming Monday, I'll do my next Books and Bites. And I'd love for you to subscribe. And I'm so grateful for the 800 plus people who've already subscribed for that in a week. So I'll always have good books and things that I'll share. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. And I did so good. I didn't go the whole hour. Does anyone have any thing they want to ask? If you have private messages you want to have, let me know how I can help with that. You can send me a private message and let me know. But thank you again. I'm so glad that you were here. And I look forward to seeing your next LinkedIn Live. I know some of you do it, like Deanna does some great ones, but others of you who are going to do them, I look forward to being part of yours and seeing all the great things you're doing out there. Y'all have a fabulous day and an incredible rest of the week. Thank you so much.